Training, tech and marketing in a estate agency, which one and in which order is the most important? Today I'm joined by Ollie Henson, who is an estate agent from Huntingdon. Ollie, out of skills, tech and marketing, which one's the most important?
This is a great subject to talk about, Chris. And look, all of them are important. And obviously everyone will have a different opinion about which order. For me, it starts really with the training. And what I would add is it's that personability, that the skill level, in the agent, the constant training
And development, because
and development. Yeah, sorry, we talk about training, but development. How do you progress people through? I think you really have to start at that. That has to be the foundation. I think I got into the industry really, I suppose, at a fairly interesting point, and the reason I say that is, I can remember us having one computer in the office, and it was out the back, and we'd check it once a week for emails, or if someone had it through Rightmove. So my infancy in the estate agency was there was a phone, there was your applicants, there was you didn't have a mobile phone, and if you did, it was probably switched off and in your drawer. It was constantly just working on, pick up the phone, speaking to people, having conversations. There were less distractions. I think part of the challenge you get in today's world is there's so many things going on for agents, particularly agents that are fresh into the industry. The social media aspect, the video point of here, am I having those conversations? What conversation am I having with vendors when I'm faced with challenges, or the market's not selling itself? No one's phoned up from Rightmove in the last 7 days to view that house. What am I going to do? What am I going to say to that vendor? So all of those conversations for me are the bits that I was, I suppose, brought up on. They were you have those difficult conversations, you set structures or plans with your clients, you work on their needs, right? We're here, you want to get here, what's the process we're going to follow to get you to your outcome? And how often, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, are we going to speak to check in to make sure that we're on course? So that for me is the fundamental of agents, and there are loads of great trainers out there. We've referenced Matt that I work with, but I look at guys like Perry Power, I look at Steve Brown, I look at other guys out there in the industry that are phenomenal at what they do. And if someone was where I was 18 months ago and they're setting up a business, one of the things that I'd be saying to them is make sure you get somebody within the industry that your first investment is going to go and get a coach, go and get a mentor, go and get someone that's going to hold you accountable. And it's going to feel like a big expense when you've not got lots of money coming in. Now, let me add on top of that, once you've got that bit and those conversations are going, do you need great tech? Massively. I'm a bit of a technophobe to a certain extent. And
so is tech number 2?
No, I would say it's probably marketing then tech, but I would just leading on to tech, from being a bit of someone that probably is a technophobe. I think the realization that I've found where we've invested in better tech is it does some of the heavy lifting. It does some of the stuff, that you're not ringing out 100 people randomly out of a box to find, a dozen people that want to go and view houses. You already know those dozen people that want to view houses because the tech's telling you they're engaging with your property. You're picking up the phone and you're having then great conversations with those people.
What tech? I don't mind you mentioning names.
Okay.
What tech do you?
We invested in Iceberg through Mark at Iceberg Digital. So
that's their life cycle system.
Life cycle system, yeah. And that for me is, I can remember being at Countrywide when they first brought in Repit, and it was like, wow, God, this is amazing. We don't have to write names on bits of card anymore. We can put them in that computer. But then it didn't really do much at the time. Anyone that works for Repit is throwing something at the TV now. At the time, it didn't really do much more than that. And all it did is it would go, right, we can print off some labels now, or we can email match somebody. That saved some poor muggins, probably me, writing 200 envelopes out. The stuff that the tech does these days is phenomenal. And from my understanding. You know, everyone at the industry at the moment seems to be talking about AI, about what impacts that's going to have in the industry, and undoubtedly there will be some benefits. I just hope that we realise that making a super slick system, making everything super efficient, doesn't detract away from what I feel the experience should be, which is making people feel special along the way.
And that's what you think the job of the tech is.
The tech is to do the background stuff, do the heavy lifting.
Okay.
The skill set from the client, from the agent, is to create that experience, that wow factor.
And you like I don't want to turn this into a life cycle advert,
No.
but you think that's a game changer.
Oh God, but I've worked with probably half a dozen different systems. For me, that the stuff that those guys are doing is head and shoulders above the rest.
And let's talk about marketing.
Yeah, so marketing, and like you, Chris, I'm a stat man. I think that's the thing that has helped me. It's helped me certainly going into a new area, and it's taking data. You know, there's so much data available to everybody now. You know, how long has the average property been on the market in that particular area? What percentage of asking prices are people selling for? How quickly are they turning around? What percentage of listings to sales? That when you go into a new area, I couldn't turn around. You know, I'd had people for 10 years. I've been able to go in and say, we've been number one for 10 years, solid, every month for 10 years. We're the number one agent. Why wouldn't you want to use us? The problem is when you go into a new area, you don't have that anymore. I couldn't wheel out a Rightmove pie chart and go, look at me, look, you know, you want some of this, don't you, Mr. Vendor? So you have to find different points.
So where do you get your stats? Is that what you talk about on your social media? And if so, where do you get your stats from?
Yeah, all places. I take a lot of it from yourself, Chris. You know, I think there are lots of bits out there now, and this is I think the way the world's changed is you don't have to go looking far for the amount of stuff that's given away and the amount of content that's given away for free. A particular bit of that you guys launched and I certainly used was when the election was announced. I think you put some stats out saying about actually last week the sales have gone up and the listings have gone up, and so actually what impact is the election having? God, I told hundreds of people that story. You know, I went out there, you know, we did a bit of marketing around it and you know, through social media. It was a great thing because it could have been a point where everyone went, oh, we're just going to hang fire for 6 or 8 weeks. Why? Well, I don't know. It's because the election's coming and someone's told me that that's going to have a real negative downturn on the market. Well, it didn't. You know, we had a great 6 weeks, thank you very much. But I think you can say that, but when you've got the data behind you to back it up, you can kind of go, well, actually, nationally, do you realise that, you know, we were above average on sales last week? And that's not just in the P28 or P27 postcode I cover, that's across the whole of East Anglia. So I think that adds credibility. So for me, it's get the training right, invest in the training, you know, then once you've kind of got that point, bring in that marketing point. How are you going to go out there? How are you going to differentiate yourself?
And good tech.
And then layer in the tech.
Excellent. Thank you for your time today, Ollie.
Thanks, Chris.